Okay, we're going to continue on here. We're on page 10. This is a new lesson, new little experiments. There are some other ways to prove triangles congruent. We've been working with side, 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 and side angle, side only. Those are the two carryovers from the similarity unit. But congruence in triangles behaves a little differently. There are some things we can figure out doing a few more experiments. So on page 10, it says, given the angle, the included side, and then another angle. That means the side is in between the two angles. The S is in between the two A's. That's just an easy way to remember. Okay. It says draw a 70-degree angle, in which I did. And then I made sure this side was 5 inches. I have measured that out exactly. And then put another 50-degree angle on this side. And I did that. And then I just drew those in there, completed my triangle. And then I did this experiment again because the way this is supposed to go, all of you are supposed to do this, and then we compare them to each other. So what I'm doing right here is I tried to do it again. I started with the 5, and I put the 50 on this side, the 70 on this side. I was just trying to come up with another way to construct this thing. And when you do actually compare it, when you look at it, it ends up being the exact same triangle. And you can verify that by checking some of these angles in here and comparing those. Like that one's just barely over 60. And this one ends up being the same. It's barely over 60. The side links end up being the same if you did measure them, which this was one that was just constructed. It's like 13.6 or so. And this one right here is the same thing, about 13.6. So what ends up happening here, we just need to write a little bit of a conclusion, all right, from this experiment. And the conclusion is, are the other three parts congruent? And when you do the comparisons with those around you or with the different ways that I constructed it, we would say yes. We know these three parts are congruent. We made them congruent, but the other three parts ended up congruent. Do we think angle, side angle is a congruence criteria? Yes. The rest of the triangle ends up congruent. All right, so we're going to add this to our list. So now we have a third one here that works. Okay. All right. The next experiment, let's check out and see if angle, angle, side works. Now, this one is easily confused with this one because it still has two angles and a side. But this one says a non-included side. So what's going to happen on this is the angle and the angle that I'm locking in to be congruent is going to be here, and the side is going to be one of those other two. So if I was comparing this up above, if I put the 5 inches right here, then it would have been angle, side, angle. But this one's not the case. This one is angle, angle, side. So this one was a little harder to construct. I started with the 5 inches, and then I put the 30 on here. And then you might can see some of my markings. I had to experiment around and figure out where I would put this 70. I think I first put it right there, where I would put that 70. And I was kind of eyeballing where it would hit. Like right there, I wasn't gonna hit the end of the 5-inch line. So I had to move down just a tiny bit, and I found that one spot where it's still going to be 70, and it's going to go directly to the end point of that 5-inch line. So I did that, and I was in the process of doing it again over here. I tried to construct this a little different. I put the 30 on this side, and so I cannot put the 70 on this side because that would be angle, side, angle. So I've got to put the 70 up here. And so I had a few markings on here to see where this ended up. And it does take a little guessing and checking. Like if I mark that 70 right there, I'll show you, like if I line that up, I actually miss the end point. I can't extend that because that's locked in at 5. So I've got to move this. So if I continue to guess and check right here, I see a point that's there. And This was a hard one to construct. So make that mark there. Let's see if this does it. I think that one's going to be pretty much spot on. I can see that that's going to hit the very end of that segment. Make a darker line. Okay, and it works. All right, so this is my 70. So I have tried to make this thing end up a different triangle, but I think you can tell when you start comparing these that they're going to make the same triangle again. Okay, so and we could verify that by checking. We know the other angle is going to be 80. We know that because of triangle sum. Like that's guaranteed. But we're all the sides of the same length. Can we compare this length being like 6.6 to this original one that I did? It is 6.6, and the other side is going to be the same as the other side. So let's answer this. We found another one. We have found another congruence that actually works. Are all three parts congruent? Yes. Do you think angle side is a congruence criteria? Yes. So we will pause there and do a few more in just a minute.